Last episode ended with a harness that measures a system which will not hold still, and one sentence I left hanging. You now have checks at every altitude, reading, oracles, properties, mutants, evals, and you cannot afford to run all of them on everything. That is not laziness, it is arithmetic. Reading a difference properly costs an hour. A mutation run costs an afternoon. Every technique here has a price, and your week did not get longer when generation got faster. So you will ration, and you already do, because nobody reviews everything. The only question is whether you ration on purpose, or leave it to whatever is loudest. An unwritten budget is not a budget. It is a mood. Here is the mood from outside, measured. Dora finds that 30% of developers report little or no trust in the AI-generated code they are shipping. Not 30% who distrust it and stop. 30% who distrust it and ship it anyway. That is the budget-less default with a number on it. And Dora names the mechanism, acceleration without control systems converts change volume into instability. 2 years, the same finding. In 2024, a 25% rise in AI adoption came with a 7.2% fall in delivery stability. In 2025, throughput flipped positive, teams learning to absorb the speed, and stability stayed negative anyway. The speed is real now. The instability did not leave with it. So why not just review more carefully? Because you cannot feel it. METR ran a randomized trial, 16 experienced open-source maintainers, 246 real issues in repositories they had known for years. With AI they were 19% slower. They had forecast 24% faster. And afterwards, having lived the slowdown, they still believed they had been 20% faster. Keep the limits in view, because this channel does not launder evidence. 16 people, most new to the tool, and the authors call the result historical. The perception gap survives all of that, and it is the part this episode needs. Generation feels fast. The drag lives in reviewing, correcting, and integrating, and it never announces itself. A budget you intend to feel your way towards is one you will not keep. So, the technique, the risk-tiered review budget. 1 page, written down, decided in advance. It is error budget thinking pointed at generation. You do not promise perfection, you state in writing how much risk you take and where. 3 tiers, sorted by blast radius. Tier 1 is whatever you cannot take back, money, personal data, anything irreversible. Full human read, every time, plus the oracles and a mutation-tested suite underneath. Tier 2 is the ordinary product surface, where the eval carries the load and human spot-check a sample. Tier 3 is throwaway, scripts, scratch analysis, the thing you will delete. Declared exempt, in writing, on purpose. That last phrase is the whole trick. An exemption you declared is a decision. An exemption you discovered is an incident. Tier by blast radius, then tune with a second dial, because the machine's help is not evenly spread. Stanford's productivity project has measured this across something like 100,000 engineers, net gains of roughly 15 to 20% on average, 30 to 40% on greenfield and self-contained work, thinning towards 0 or negative on complex tasks in mature code bases. That work is not peer-reviewed yet, so hold the percentages loosely, the shape is what you need. Where code is new and isolated, the machine is strong and your check can be lighter. Where it is old, tangled and load-bearing, the gain thins out and the checking decides the outcome. So, what this can break, and where the machine is weakest. Uniform review is the one policy guaranteed to be wrong in both directions at once. So, the suggester, tiered on air. The redaction path is tier 1, it handles card numbers, it is the one place this product can hurt somebody, and last episode's harness caught a card number typed across 2 lines that the property tests walked past. Tier 1 means a human reads every change to that path, the suite is mutation tested, and the assertion runs in the eval on every commit. The drafting path is tier 2, and here is the detail worth noticing. Every draft already requires a human agent to press send. That approval step is a review budget, in force, in production, and it was there long before the policy, we had never counted it as one. The dashboards are tier 3, a wrong number costs an argument rather than a customer, and we wrote that down rather than hoping. Now the objection, always the same one, I do not get to set policy. You do not need to. Your own review budget needs nobody's permission, 1 page, 3 tiers, covering only the changes your hands touch, and you can be working to it within the hour. The team version is the same page with evidence stapled to it, which is why it goes second. Walk in with a policy and you are proposing a process. Walk in with a policy, a month of your own counts, and Dora's mechanism, and you are proposing a control system for a problem the room has already felt. Only one of those meetings goes well. One line belongs in every tier, including the exempt one, and it is where this strand has been heading. The chain of checks ends at reality. Reading is a model of correctness, and so is an oracle. A property, a mutant, an eval, all models, all built by the minds that built the thing being checked. Production is the only place your system meets a real customer, which makes observability the final oracle and the only one nobody can fake. So no tier ever reaches 0. Tier 3 does not mean nobody checks, it means the check is a canary, an alert on the thing that would really hurt, and a person who looks at it. That is the cheapest line in the budget and the one you never get to cut. Which brings the self-check, the smallest and most uncomfortable exercise in this series. Write your one page, then count what bypassed it. Hours, across one working week, 6 changes landed on the suggester. 4 were tier 2 and got their spot check against the eval. 1 was tier 3, declared, fine. And 1 touched the redaction path, went in on a green suite, and no human read it. A tier 1 bypass, 1 in 6, in the week we wrote the policy. The policy did not prevent it. Read that again, because it is the point. The policy did not prevent the bypass, the policy made the bypass countable. Before the page existed, that change was not a violation, it was just work. A written budget's first product is not compliance, it is visibility. There are 2 ways to write this page badly. The first puts everything in tier 1, which is not a budget, it is a wish, and it collapses the first week anyone is under pressure. The second drifts until everything is tier 3, which is what happens when nobody counts. Both fail the same way, they stop being a decision. And there is one temptation worth naming, which is tiering by author, a stricter rule for code a machine wrote, and it sounds like caution. It is a category error. The tier belongs to the blast radius, never to the hands the code came out of, because the customer whose card number leaks holds no opinion about which of you typed it. That is the verification strand, 5 techniques and an allocator to spend them with. Reading, for the code you did not write. Oracles, so you know what correct means before you look. Properties and mutants, so the suite has teeth. Evals, so a system with a model inside it can still be measured. And a written budget, so the other forgets spent where they pay. The claim underneath all 5 is narrower than the headlines and far more useful. Not that AI makes you slower. That generation got cheap, verification did not, and the work moved. Every credible measurement of where the time and the failures now go lands on the same side of that ledger, and this strand is that side. The exercise, this week, write the one page. 3 tiers, 3 sentences each, what falls into it, what check it gets, who signs it off. Then count the last week of changes against it, and write that number at the bottom. The artifact is the tiering policy template, solo and team variants, linked below with this episode's receipts. And you will know it worked the first time you skip a review on purpose and can say why out loud, without lowering your voice. Which closes something, and opens something worse. You now know how to tell whether it works. The harder question is whether it should exist. Next episode, kill criteria before building.